I'm going crazy. We're not going crazy. We're not going crazy. I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. I know I've always lived in this reality, but it doesn't feel real. What is reality? Fuck. This is it. This can't be happening. It's been months. Just breathe. Look at yourself. Fuck. I know it's me. But it doesn't feel like it's me. But it is me, right? Who is that person? I'm going crazy. You're okay. You're fine. You're okay. Your physics game over. You're good. What about my life? It'll go away. It's okay. We're not going crazy. It just doesn't go away. What's gonna happen? What about my family? Fuck. What about my friends? Maybe I should embrace the insanity.
The ice cream is almost melted. I mean, it is melted. Who am I kidding? Yeah, the idea was to make this video as natural possible, So I just decided, bruh, I'm just gonna have a bit of dessert and have a conversation with you. You're okay. You're not going crazy. I must admit there was certain resistance when I started writing for this video, and which is of course logical because people don't talk about this. They don't like to talk about this, and it is understandable. So a couple years ago, I had a traumatic experience, or rather, the accumulation of traumatic experiences that destroyed the foundations of who I thought I was as a person, leaving me with a ridiculous amount of despair, utterly demoralized and completely stranded from my life. It was like playing whack-a-mole with existential distress and ontological uncertainties. It's like as soon as I walk one, just another one shows up. And I genuinely thought that I fucked up my life. Forever. I thought I was never going to be the same. I thought I was not going to come back. I thought maybe I should get used to it, because this is my new normal. And this crisis only lasted for 4-5 months. And the depersonalization and derealization side of it were just aspects of this whole crisis. And that only lasted like 2 months, I think. So I went from this dark, hopeless place to learning, growing, and healing from that experience. And now I can say I'm in a better place. Like I'm happier. I don't think I've ever been this happy. And I haven't had another episode like in almost 2 years now. I don't want this video to be a scientific video. There's, a lot of resources and articles in the internet. Well, maybe there's not a lot about this condition, but there is research about that. And if you want to know the facts, go ahead and search for the facts. But I wouldn't recommend searching for them, because if you're currently having depersonalization or derealization, it can send you down the rabbit hole, and it's just gonna get more difficult. So what is derealization and what is depersonalization? With derealization is you feel as if the world is not real anymore, as if you were living in a dream. Kind of you in a constant daydreaming state. Everything is very foggy. You're not clear. It's like as if you were in the clouds. There's a detachment from the reality. And what is depersonalization? It's feeling detached from yourself, from your own body. I remember in some cases just looking at my hands or looking at myself in the mirror, and I wouldn't be able to recognize the reflection in the mirror. Or I would look at my hands and I knew they were my hands, but there was this thought way in the back of my head that I don't think so. And of course this rises feelings of uneasiness. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. I just couldn't relate to my body. I couldn't make sense of this vehicle. You know, you feel like an outcast in your own body. What is curious about derealization and depersonalization is that if you have one, you're probably gonna experience the other one to some extent. And just so to be clear, derealization and depersonalization, they're not illnesses, they're not diseases, they're just symptoms of something larger, which is anxiety. People that have depersonalization or derealizations are often people that had traumatic experiences. Either they've been abused in their childhood or even in adulthood. There's just underlying traumas, the unexpected death of a loved one, or substance abuse, drugs. Maybe you've been smoking a lot of weed. Maybe you've done a lot of psychedelics. And what happens is your brain has this mechanism to protect itself from trauma, so it unplugs you from the experience. And then in the future, when you're able to come back to that experience, you're going to be able to heal from it. It's like your brain is deciding to pause the trauma for later, for when you have a better toolkit, better set of skills. One of the things that I really find curious is the fact that I was reading that half or more than half of the population in their life, they're going to experience at least one episode of derealization or depersonalization. So that's a lot. And think about it, your brain is doing all of this to protect yourself from the incident. When I had my derealization and depersonalization episode, one of the things that I wanted the most is just the validation, that solace, that I was okay and that I wasn't crazy or that I wasn't gonna go crazy. And I'm here to tell you that. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. There's, the cave you fear holds the treasure you seek. You're gonna be okay. And I know this is gonna sound bad, but don't focus on this aspect. Don't focus on the sensation of being outside. It's gonna pass. It's gonna pass. As I said, if you have anxiety, you're probably gonna dwell on that thought for longer than you should, and you're just gonna drive yourself insane. Your thoughts are just thoughts. That's it. And another thing that I want to give you is coping mechanisms. How can you overcome this situation? It's not as hard as you think it is. Of course, it feels very weird being in that situation, but You're gonna be okay. So the things that I did and that I recommend is ground yourself. What do I mean by that? Grounding yourself. Go out to nature, bare feet. See the light, go out for a walk, exercise, connect yourself with your body, and try to keep yourself as grounded as possible. And please stay away from mind-altering substances. Don't stay away from drugs, because we're trying to ground ourselves. So if you alter your mind in such a fragile state, you're only gonna make things worse. Find solace, find a comfortable spot in your sobriety so you can heal. Good nutrition is important. It doesn't matter if you're suffering from a disease or not, or, nutrition is everything. And you have to drink plenty of water. You have to basically just take care of yourself, give yourself a break. Don't force your mind too much. Don't force your brain too much, And also stay away from nihilism, because it's only gonna make things worse. Don't think about that. Not because I'm telling you what to do, but because if you want to get out of that hole of despair that you're currently in, you can think with this lens of despair. They're not going to serve you. I believe optimism is practical. Spend time with your friends, with your family. Reconnect to the things that you like. Go and create. Creativity can be a great output, because it connects you to something beyond you. Dance, play guitar, go do some kind of sport, paint, read a book, something that gets you out of your mind. I think the support of a community that are going through the same thing, or at least very close friends that can provide some kind of comfort, are gonna come in handy. Their love towards us can actually make us heal faster, way faster than if we are on our own. I'm not saying that you must absolutely have somebody there, but if you have somebody there, it's gonna be 10 times better. And having said all that, you should definitely go see a therapist, a psychologist, and see what you guys can work out about it. Because, as I said, a friend can come in handy, but sometimes a friend isn't a psychologist, So maybe you can also take that route. I think it's important to verbalize the inner narrative that is going on. If you can verbalize that, then you can have a better understanding, a better crook of what's really going on. Because as I said, derealization and depersonalization are just symptoms of anxiety. Anxiety, it's the fear. I think it's fair to say that we're all afraid to die, and that's the underlying condition. That's the worm at the core. We have to agree upon this. To some extent, we're all afraid to die. If you can figure out your fears, if you can figure out the stuff that is not longer serving you, these have healing properties. You have to remember that this is life. We're here for a reason, for a purpose, and it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. Treat yourself with compassion. Give yourself some love, and you're gonna heal. It's gonna take some time, but it's not impossible. Having said all that, hope you have taken some insights from this video. Hope you can move further down the road. It would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And if you're thinking about something, just leave it in the comments below. I'll make sure to reply to you, and we can start a conversation. And thank you for sharing the space of my sacred balcony. Have a good day. Peace.